Greetings, everybody. Can you believe we are halfway through January already? It's the 17th today. It's Monday, and I hope that you're going to have a wonderful week. Well, how are we going to live this year? I want to read you just a passage which where the prophet says, "Well, how should we live?" It's from the book of Micah, and it's chapter 6, and I'd like to read to you three verses 6 to 8. With what shall I come before the Lord and bow down before the exalted God? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves a year old? Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, with 10,000 rivers of oil? Shall I offer my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? No, he has showed you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. That's a well-known passage. Imagine if I had to steal your motor car. I just like it, so I steal it. And then one day, I meet you, and I put up my hand and I say, "Hi, my friend, would you take my hand?" I doubt it, because something has to be sorted out. And so I realized that, and I put my hand into my pocket and I give you back your car keys. Well, I know it's not as simple as that, but justice has to be done. I once had a little dog, and his name was Billy. He was a wonderful little dog, got him from the SPCA. He was really a pavement special, but he loved me beyond words. But he had one bad habit, and that was he used to nip people's ankles. Well, not so much their ankles, but their heels behind them. And one day, while we were in the garden, a friend of mine walked past, and she was pushing a pram with a little baby in it, and next to her was her little 3 or 4-year-old son who was walking, and she was holding his hands as she pushed the pram. And Billy saw these few people, and he jumped over the fence, and he went behind this little boy and he nipped him on the heel. And of course, he began crying terribly, and the blood was flowing. And I ran out and chased Billy back inside, and I really apologized to my friend and said how sorry I was and so on. But I knew that that wasn't enough, because I had to do something else. I had to pay for the doctor. So I said, "Please, when you take him to the doctor, please send me the bill, because I will pay." And I knew that that is what it meant to act justly in that circumstance. We've come from a country where there has been massive injustice, where things have been stolen from people politically, and now they're slowly being restored, and it's a long and an arduous and a painful and a confused process. But if you think about our country today, even post-apartheid, the unemployment level here is about 35%. That's about 15 million people. And about 70% of young people, 35 and below, who are still unemployed. If you think of poverty, about 20% of our country are below the poverty line, international poverty line. And that's about 28 Rand a day. There's still huge poverty. In recent times, things have improved a bit, and I believe since about 2006, about 2 million people have been lifted out of extreme poverty. But there's still about 10 million people who live in total poverty within our country. And there are few of us who can do much to solve those huge macro problems. As we go about our daily lives, we're busy, we're doing stuff. But there are things that we can do to act justly as the followers of Jesus. We can pay our domestic workers, if we have one, we can pay them a just and a proper wage, make sure that they are properly reimbursed for their work. We can support groups financially, groups that work with the aged or with children, or who are victims of crime. We can support upliftment programs. Even within our own church, we have organizations like Hillcrest Aid Center, Siyakhula Sonke, that we can support financially. We can share the skills we have to train other people in order to be able to enable them to do something which will help them to make a living. We can produce stuff ourselves, which we can sell, and then use what we sell for good purposes. We can provide warmth, we can provide food, as so many of us do. But to think as we go into this year, what can we do to fulfill what God requires of us? He has shown you what is good. Act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly, that is, obediently, with God. And it accumulates as we do this one by one. Different needs are met, and we become a more just, a more compassionate community. So may God help us to live in the way that will please Him as we go into this week, as we go into this year. Bye for now, and we'll see you soon.